Hello Tubesters, welcome to another one of my videos. I just wanted to thank, first of all, before we go down to the match in hand, I want to thank all the kind people that left messages on or comments on my last video about Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II passing. I'd also just like to say I meant no disrespect to your systems of government. If that came over, nobody said that, but I think they took that on the chin. I didn't mean it the way it came out. I just don't like politicians in my own country and even in your countries. As I say, I just don't think they work for people. I know we need them, or we end up with a tyrant. But yeah, I just didn't want to. I just want to say I didn't mean to offend anybody. So anybody that it was offended, I wasn't having a go at any particular prime minister or president in whatever country you are in around the world. or past or present or anything. I just was just trying to put over what Queen Elizabeth meant to me personally, and hopefully a lot of the people in our nation. Right. I'd just also like to say, we're all feeling a bit flat at the moment, and if we do come over as flat on our videos here in the UK, and some of the other guys that have got the Queen of their head of state, and we I apologise again for that. I didn't have to think too deeply about doing another video. Some people, I would suspect, aren't putting videos up. We're a nation in mourning at the moment. I don't think putting a video up is disrespectful to Her Majesty, and I'm not claiming that those guys are saying it is. I'm just digging myself in even deeper, aren't I, really? But I just, I don't think it's disrespectful. As I say, I've got head problems. My videos help me, and I'm sure Her Majesty would, respect that and encourage me to carry on, as would our new king. So yeah, we might be a bit flat and go on about what's going on at the moment, but in front of the video that you've really come to see something else. But I just, again, thank you so much to all those kind people from around the world who understood the grief that's going on at the moment, and I really appreciated that, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So, right, we've got some progress on the US Marine Corps 1st Division Guadalcanal 1942 bust. Is more or less all done. The only thing I haven't done is, in this packet are 2 helmet straps, the main ones that go on not the leather one that goes over the top. I've not done those yet. They're actually all primed. I'm going to have to, when I cut them off the sprues, there'll be a bit of stuff that I'll have to touch up in that. But they are delicate, and hanging down as they will do from the helmet, I didn't want to catch them when I actually transfer the bust onto a plinth, which I don't have at the moment. I've got no plinths left, but I have got some money that have come in, so I will be buying 2 or 3 plinths, one for this one for the Panzer Grenadier, Waffen-SS Panzer Grenadier for Battle of the Bulge is what I was trying to say, Ardennes 1944. I've got him to do, and I've got a small, which I believe I've actually got one of the small bust plinths, but I've got a mini bust to do as well of a Napoleonic general. So yeah, you won't see the final reveal on his plinth because as long, I haven't even ordered them yet. They'll be getting done later on this afternoon, and then as long as it takes the guy who does the plinths to obviously get them to me, there's no mad rush. But I've got to say, really enjoyable bust. I should actually say this on the last one, on the final reveal, shouldn't I? But if you'd like to have a go at bust painting, and yes, I would always encourage you to do something that you want to do, rather than just say, oh, that looks an easier one, I'll do that, or Gav says this is a good one or an easy one to do. You've got to want to do that subject, because just like anything, it's like making a model tank that you don't really want to do. You don't maybe get as enthusiastic on it, because let's face it, it's our time, it's our hobby, and if you're not 100% buying into that time, then it's a waste of time. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So, but I will say, heads well spanned with all that's going on. BBC keep at the beginning of their news broadcasts, they show the photographs of Her Majesty like throughout her reign, and the tears just keep. Must have seen it 40 times now, and every time I think, oh no, not again. But yeah, but what happens is when my head's under stress, it trips out. Literally, it's like two wires put together, and I lose memory, I lose focus, I lose just about everything. Self-respect. Yeah, I know. Anyway, right. What I was going to say was with this guy, he's pros and cons on it. Cons are there's more flesh because you've obviously got the chest area. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not up for doing that much flesh, well, I would say to you, if you've got to do the face anyway, what's the torso? You know, it's something to learn on. But he is as simple. You've just got one rifle, the Springfield, not the Garand, the Springfield rifle to put on the back. So I would suggest putting a little pin in from a paper clip, and or any other wire you've got, and drill in a small hole and sticking it in just so it's secure. You watch, I'm going to knock this off now. But yeah, you've got a helmet, a rifle, and yeah, helmet. You've got to attach the head and the V-shaped torso in between the dog tags in. The dog tags are purposely designed to cover the gap. There's a very small amount of filling to do at the back of the neck. Very small amount of filling, plastic putty to rub down where that V shape goes in, but it's very negligible. The dog tag strings do a really good job of hiding any other gap that might be there. The only thing I wasn't happy about, as I said to you guys, was the helmet. It had obviously a big old casting plug, which I don't expect, but they got it right on the helmet rim. I didn't know if they could. I don't know, casting, it might not be possible to do it anywhere else, but that was a pain, and it did leave, as I expected it would do, a small divot, which I then had to put some putty in and just sand it to roughly replace the bit that was missing. But yeah, really straightforward, simple bust. You don't have to, I've put the lines in, they could be better, I believe that myself. But they have this, like, is it called duck twill? I'm not sure, but they have the lines in. The Marines had the lines in going down there. These tunics, jackets, whatever you want to call them. They're not overly hard to do, honestly. Especially as you're going to fade them out anyway. You can, in places, the collar's a bit more pronounced just because it's not as faded around the arms, and you haven't got so much ruckles of fabric and stuff. But a really, really nice bust. Some people might not like it because they've done him in a squinting look. As I say, I've seen the photograph. I believe that this might well have been taken from, because the guy actually looks like the sculpt, and it's actually on board a transport ship, I presume, whether it was going to Guadalcanal, I'm not sure, but or leaving Guadalcanal, whatever it was, and he was obviously looking up like this. It was one of these pose shots probably, and he's squinting into the sun. But the way the box artist has done it, which is, because the box artist is up here, it was actually sculpted and painted by Sang-Yon Lee. Well, that is really artistic, and I don't mean that disparagingly. He's done it. A lot of the times you can either go two ways, I suppose, when you're in a real tropical, real sweaty, dark, dense, is it third canopy? They call them canopies. I should know all this. I was worked with trees most of my life, but not in the jungle, funny enough. Different canopy structures, and it can get really dense and dark. Well, if you're in there for a large amount of times, I would imagine you don't actually get as tanned as we probably think, and you get clammy skin, and it literally moulds off you. So what I've read about different guys fighting in jungle environments throughout the years. I recognise I haven't got the artistic talent that this guy's got. So I wanted, and also I'll be straight with you, I really acknowledge that as a beautiful piece of art. I like a real a real natural look, if that makes sense, to skin and whatever. I like to replicate what we actually look like. Yeah. Looking at him now, I'm thinking probably insulted everybody out there, but yeah, that's how I like to roll. Beautiful bust. As I say, very little pieces to go on. I presume the less pieces, whether they just do it in weight or what. If you went and got, say, one of the German tripod carriers, as they call it, I think for Stalingrad or Kharkov, I can't remember which. There's obviously a lot more to that, whether it's more pieces or more weight in resin, I've got no idea, but they're a lot more expensive, sometimes by about £10, £8 or £10 than this guy was. I mean, I got a bit of discount off him purely because of, one of these reward systems. When you buy stuff, you can rack up points. But I think it was only about £34, £32, something like that. So I would say a really nice beginner's bust. Anyway, loads of talking and not a lot of showing. So let's go down to the bench and take a look. Right guys, better put my reading bins on first. Hang on a second. Let's get the old readers on. Right. Yeah, this is going to be one of Gav's ultra long videos again, isn't it? Because I've already gone on about the Queen and all the rest of it. Again, I apologise. There will be a reveal video of this when I get him on a plinth, and I've got those little helmet straps, which are, again, these guys in there. You can see they're on casting blocks. Or pouring blocks, whatever you want to call them. But there will be a quick reveal, and that will be a quick one. And then I'm going to put, as I did with the other one, yes, I'm hamming it up, or whatever the word is, but I've kept all the photographs I've done, and I'm going to do a from beginning to end, look at just photographs, put some music on. Right. There'll be a fair few photographs of this at the end. Only one, I believe, or I'll try and put them in between if I'm trying to explain stuff. Now, the helmet, I have taken a couple of photographs of this when I underpainted it. So, again, I'm not even sure if I use the right words for a lot of stuff, but when I underpaint, it's a bit like doing a sketch, except for, if you can see, like brown tinges in it. So what I've done is I've picked different colours. I picked very dark greeny blues, black greens for the shadow areas, because I've already put that primer coat on, which shade, and I pre-shaded it. So that was already telling me where I wanted to put particular shaded areas. So I put some of the darkest areas in. I've put, like, this is orange brown, I believe, and there's red browns in there. There's some cavalry brown, which is like a deep orange, like a chestnutty brown. There's very light blue, light greens in here. And then what I've done is mix a colour up, which I've believed look fairly akin to the dark greens that the American helmets were, and I've more or less applied washes over the top. Now that does give you a very slight shine to it, which I didn't mind, because it's a metal helmet. So rather than having the no shine here, I wanted that bit of shine to it, and I've done probably about 6 or 8 applications, run a hairdryer over it, and then reapplied again. The first couple, 2 or 3, I just went straight over the helmet, covering it all, and then I started making. So I suppose you could say they were still paint washes, really, more than glazes. So they were watered down paint, but I applied them to specific areas. And then right at the end, I then chose some glazing colours. So you're talking like tinted water, really. and I then put things like dark sea blue, which is you should always have in your armoury. That's a Vallejo colour. And I added it to the shadow areas again to give these somewhat darker colours. But if you see, it has that patchy effect, and that's what I was looking for, because when you look at a lot of helmets that have been painted, they have a very patchy effect. Obviously the helmet has been textured by the sculptor, but it gives you that real nice patchy effect. You know, you're not just saying like, oh, this is a bright spot on the helmet, here is a lighted area. In real life, a lot of them have like a darker rim. Sometimes that rim's almost got patina is the word I was after. So yeah, Springfield rifle was done the same, or the wood was. This brass piece, which is almost hidden now by the jacket, that's a spring for the lower bands of the rifle, like the bands that keep it all together. But obviously they've cut it off there. Big cock up, as we say in the UK, or stuff up. I didn't paint this black, which has now got to be done, and I'll guarantee you I'll be splashing black all over the edges of the thing, so that's going to be a right game. If you can, remember to just paint, well, you don't need to, obviously you decide what you want to do, but I do paint the bases usually black or black brown underneath, because they're not there to be viewed. We've texturized, I think I've done all this bit texturized on the straps, but we've texturized the straps. I've left this fairly dark skin underneath. If you can see, I've put, you can just see the little dashes there. I've put some bug bites and some sweat runs. Sweat runs were done by using sometimes some very watered down tire black, but I prefer using the English uniform, which is, I have to have one behind me or in front of me. I use that for sweat runs. It's a bit more natural as far as I'm concerned. You can see sweat runs down here. We've got a bit of light blood effects there from the scratches. You might see better in photographs, I don't know. There we go. So I've put scratches in, bit of blood, but we've got sweat running. Where are we? There we go. Sweat running down here. I'm just trying to find the contour. I think I went a bit dark there, but then I thought no, because that's where all the main gunge and dirt is coming down. I didn't want to overdo it, so I've just put a couple of scratches in. Again, a slight blood runoff. But you notice I've put lots of, well, not lots, a few little bites. So that's like a shadow. That's like a shadow flesh colour, and then I've put a medium flesh or a flat flesh on top. As when you look at bites and stuff, they often like that. They have like a red outer and the same. We've got some more bites and nicks on his. We've got one on his cheek there. Again, I didn't want to go mad and make him look like he's got acne, but like a bite there. We've got some more sweat runs going down his face, but without overdoing it. Again, down his neck area, and then I'll put a scratch on the back of his neck there. As I say, the only scratch I did on his clothing was this one here, which showed blood. The rest of it, I've just put, you know, torn clothes and lightened them up to show a scratch, tears. Leather I thought came out really well. Brasswork, I've done it in non-metallic. The only thing I'm not 100% sure on, if I need to darken the Springfield metalwork, it might be a bit light. Bearing in mind it's under bright light, so it's looking lighter than it is. I put again sky grey, some silver grey, and then some cold white little dots and that, just to show a worn metal bit to the edge of the helmet. Lips didn't come out too bad in the end. I say it's weird when you're doing all this stippling work on the skin and egg. When it's that up close, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look as good. It's more. I mean, most busts tend to be viewed from about this distance anyway. And when it's at that distance, it looks a lot better. That says a lot for my painting, doesn't it? But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's not finished yet. As I say, I've still got to paint the two little straps, and the helmet's actually just sitting on. I've got a pin. I've pinned the helmet into the head, and it's still got to be glued down yet. But I won't do any of that until I've actually the rifle's actually glued on. You watch me take it off now. I say I've got a brass plinth under here. This is my painting block. I could do with a rounding one off really, rather than a square one. I was lazy at the time because these do jag in me fingers from time to time. But I find people might say, well, why such a great big block of wood? But it keeps my hands away from the bust, and it's really stable. You know, there's no chance of me knocking it over. Dropping the camera on top of it almost, yes, but not knocking it over. So yeah, all we got to do is paint under here, which is a really I did this on a bust about two busts ago. Forgot to completely do the paint underneath. So let's just hope I don't get black paint over everywhere. But even from this distance, through my blurry eyes, I can see some sweat runs and that, which is what I wanted to achieve. I say I do prefer this natural look. I really, as I say, large scale display figures, whether they're busts or large, you know, 54mm, 75mm, 90mm, 120mm figures. That's my art of choice, and it doesn't have to be military. I can ooh and ah over a fantasy piece as much as I can a military piece, but I just happen to be more of a military, obviously, history buff, so I tend to do military subjects mainly. Not to say I won't be doing any more fantasy busts and that, because I probably will, but yeah, really enjoyable. And as I say, I prefer the natural look myself when I'm doing it myself. That could just be a coward's way out, and I also don't have the artistic view to do it any better. Right, enough waffling. As I say, photographs at the end. I had to mention the Queen again at the beginning, just because, one, to thank you all again for your kind words, and two, just to, as I say, if there's a lot of guys, I just went on to Gary's stuff, which is modelling channel, a fellow Brit, and he's like myself, absolutely deflated, and it can come over on the videos from time to time, and it will do probably until another week or two, but we move on. As I said to Gary, we have to keep going forward. We've got a new king, he has to go forward, so we're not being disrespectful to Her Majesty. So anyway, I won't go on. Look after yourselves again, and thank you very much for the kind words over this bus, by the way. It's been really gratifying. As I say, I know this type of stuff isn't people's cup of tea, but I do say I'm not somebody on my channel who says, what do you want me to do, or what do you want me to see me do? You know, my channel is here for those that, you know, I understand it's a Marmite type of channel. That's a British saying for, you can either love it or loathe it. There's a lot of loathing for it, believe me. It's, you know, it's just my channel, and I like to do what I want to do on it, and I just hope that what I do, you know, interests people enough to stop by and take a look. So you're all beautiful people. I really appreciate you all, and thank you very much.